Welcome to Grace Among Us, the podcast where we unearth the many faces and places of grace and share stories of the power of grace in our human lives. Our desire is that this will inspire you to see grace in your own life and share it with others.
Hello. My name is Carri Richard, and I am a mindset coach who I help people make space and enjoy the ride. I enjoy the journey along the way, and one of my most favorite things to do is come in here and speak with dear Ebony Gilbert and point to grace. So, Ebony, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Carri Richard. My name is Ebony Gilbert, like Carri Richard stated. And we are here today to talk about grace. Grace, it's a Monday for us.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change up.
Yes, it is. And everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
Yes.
But here we are. And I got a question for you.
Mm,
Um, Thinking about service to others. Um, when I think about service, I think about customer service and how bad it is all the time. But this is bigger than that. This is not a cable company cell phone support phone call. We're talking about the service that we provide to others. What comes to mind for you, Carrie, when you think about service? And as it relates to our responsibility to carry it out.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. So I do have to go a little sideways for a moment because you talked about customer service, and
Mhm.
I came from high tech and I grew up in the support department. So I had a headset, it wasn't this fancy, and the microphone. And yes, that is very different. On the outside, that's very different than the service we're talking about today. Um the interesting thing is when I'm really serving, I'm not serving myself or serving my ego and the idea that I need some validation or appreciation or some outcome based on my actions, then that service is effortless.
Hmm.
I had this idea for a long time that service uh, took a lot of energy, and it also had to be big and
Mhm.
bold and important. And uh, to be honest, I shied away from it or told myself, well, I can't really do that. And so, service today, most times, um, the first thing is just really being present. You know, I have a situation right now where I have a family member who is ill, and I don't like it at all. And in the past, I would service to me would be tied to an outcome. Like maybe I would make his favorite thing, or that I had to do something to make the situation better.
Mhm.
And service doesn't mean that I have any dog in the fight on uh, the impact it's going to have or how it's going to be received. Does that make sense?
So the responsibility of the outcome
It's not mine.
is
It's
lifted off
not.
your shoulders.
Exactly, and I think that's that big piece that makes it effortless, because all the effort was, like, trying to create an outcome that always was they would feel better, right? Or
Mhm.
somebody
Mhm.
would feel better about it, and it's really, it's not in my ballpark.
Hmm.
So today, it's more of just being present or being willing to be present. Uh, that sounds a little vague. Is it?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I mean, let's flip it around a little bit. Have you ever had
Yeah.
someone try to do something for you to make you feel better? And at the end of it, you still felt kind of the same, but you really appreciated the service.
Yes,
The act of service itself, not to be cliche-ish here, but the act of service itself, even though it didn't change your circumstances or the situation, the act itself, the effort, their obedience to doing the act of service served you well.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll give you a specific example. So it's, it's a very close relative that's ill right now and in the hospital.
Mhm.
And uh, I reached out to a group of friends that I have and said, "Can you pray for us?" And I got all these responses. And that isn't changing what's going on, but the lightness, like, just knowing I'm not alone, like, that other people are just the love that comes through. It doesn't matter if it comes through an email, a phone call, a smile, a, "Hey, how are you doing?" Any of it, it lightens the load, and it reminds me who's in charge. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
The
So
service is a show of love,
yeah, yeah.
and sometimes that's all you need.
I think almost all the time that's all you
All you
need.
need.
Absolutely.
So when we
Absolutely.
put our service hat on, and I'm wearing a hat today, that was accidental. But if you're wearing your service hat, the responsibility is not tied necessarily to the outcome. We obviously have something in mind that we want to get out of this. We want the person to be better. We want to,
Heck yeah.
but we don't have the power to make any guarantees there. The act of service is in showing the love. It's in sharing the love that's inside of us. I got another question for you because I'm talking through this and I'm thinking at the same time.
Okay.
How do you deal with your responsibility? Because you would agree, it's our responsibility, right? We're accountable for this. We have to show service. We have to be giving. We have to share. This is who we're made to be, right?
Mhm.
Assuming that, how do you deal with showing that kind of graceful service to someone who you feel like hasn't always positioned themselves to deserve it in air quotes, or they haven't been very gracious to you in the past, but now you have this opportunity, and I'm going to call it an opportunity
Yeah.
to show them something Christ-like, something God-like. How does that feel? How do you navigate that?
Man, that is a great question. The first thing for me to be able to even see that opportunity is to work on my own spirituality. Uh, Meaning to remind myself who's in charge, to talk about these kind of things, right? To give thanks to, for me, God, who is the one who's doing all these things,
Right.
right? Um, and one of my favorite things to say, if I'm in a situation where it might be sticky, like, I can feel the nudge to show up, and I can also have an opinion at the same time. And
Mhm.
that opinion, are could be about, well, they didn't, or why do you need to, or I don't really like this person,
Mhm.
or, fear, or just overall fear based on your experience. And the most powerful thing that I can do in that moment is just say, "God, speak through my mouth."
Yeah. Yeah. Put the words in my mouth.
Exactly, exactly, and be curious. Like like, I wonder how this is gonna go. Because often if I have an opinion about a situation,
Mhm.
then that means that I think I know how it's gonna go. And man, it boxes me in a big way.
So you said get curious.
Mhm.
Does that happen in the moment, or do you prep talk yourself?
It kinda goes along hand in hand with God speak through my mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a decision. for
So
sure.
just okay.
Yeah, because if I don't,
You're waiting for the lightning bolt.
usually I'm gonna react to it, and then all bets are off. I'm not serving very well.
It's a decision.
Yeah, it is a decision, and it's trusting that it's not just me, myself, and I that's in the situation.
Yeah.
Grace gets to come along. I am
Yeah.
not graceful on my own.
I'm not either.
Uh-uh.
I'm not either. It's not only a decision in the moment, it's an ongoing daily decision for me. There's a song I like. I've decided to follow Jesus. Old song, decided to follow, no looking back, no turning back. But it's a daily decision. And it's not that I'm going to change my mind tomorrow, but when I make that daily declaration, I'm saying I've decided to be an instrument. I've decided to show service. I've decided today, even if I don't feel like it, even if I don't think Carrie's been very nice to me in the past 24 hours, even if I don't really think you need me because you got 10 other people, I've decided that I'm going to use whatever opportunity presents itself to show up the way God would have me to show up.
Yeah. And and Ebony, what happens when you do that?
Well, a lot of times I don't. Let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes my voice, my flesh voice, is louder.
Yeah.
But when I do, and He speaks through my mouth and He gives me the strength, there have been many times where I walk away thinking, I don't know how I just did that. I don't know how that went the way it did, or man, that person was really moved or touched, and I don't know what I said. And it's not that I am just saying that. No, I really don't know. Like, I really don't know where it came from. It's not something I've said before. These are not thoughts I keep. Like,
Yeah.
something dug way deep down with a pitchfork into the bowels of my soul and pulled this out. And it was protected and it was safe. And I walked away feeling like I had done what I was supposed to do. Now, I want to know the outcome. I get caught up on that because I want to know. And then I have to decide that that's none of my business
Yeah.
and walk on. But I've never had any regrets when I've followed that nudge or that urge to help or assist. And sometimes the service carry is being quiet.
Yeah.
It's being quiet. I had a situation over the weekend talking with a loved one who has got some cognitive deficit stuff going on that they're not aware of. It's kind of early stages, and we had a full conversation, about 10 to 15 minutes. And towards the end of the conversation, we did our normal wrap up. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Have a good week. And the person literally started repeating the entire conversation over again. And it didn't take long for me to realize that this was a glitch. There's a glitch
Mhm.
in the matrix here. Um, and the service wasn't in correcting or pointing out the obvious. The service was in being quiet and allowing the conversation to continue because what would it hurt? You know,
Yeah.
what would it hurt? So the service this weekend was hush, be present and hush. Just be here and be quiet. Um, and that's taking some time because I've always thought it's something I had to say or something I had to do, or service has to be an action.
Yeah, or it has to be planned with, like, a project
Yeah,
plan and, an
an outcome and
agenda.
ending and objectives, and that wasn't the case.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. So where do you so that's discernment.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. I don't know where I'm going with this comment, but maybe it's in my spirit, so I'm gonna say it. It didn't feel good to me. This is someone I care about. I'm bothered by what would appear to me to be a decline. I want to help And in my mind, helping is get you help. Now, I don't know how much of that's gonna happen on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, but in my mind, I've gotta correct it, I've gotta call it out, I gotta do all these things. And the discernment, the small whisper in my voice of a voice in my ear, not mine, was don't do any of that.
Mhm.
Have the conversation. Because all that's gonna happen is she's gonna get to laugh again. And she's gonna make the same joke, and it's gonna be funny again, and it's gonna bring joy into this moment, even though we just experienced it 10 minutes ago, and it didn't feel good to me. Um, I was saddened by the entire exchange, to be honest with you, but I knew that was the reasonable service in that moment. So, I told you I didn't know where I was going with this, but I think my takeaway is in this moment, if you follow the steps that are outlined in the opportunity presented, your validation should come from knowing that you followed the steps and that you
Yes,
did what was right. Your validation cannot rely on the feeling it gives you. Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
It makes perfect sense. So I can absolutely relate to that. The person who I'm concerned with is in the hospital, and it's a family member, so we have all these family dynamics going on. And to your point of just being quiet, just being present, letting things happen. There were situations where I wanted to take control and
Mhm,
I wanted to boss people around,
mhm.
and I didn't like how somebody was doing something, and I wanted these decisions to be made, and it was like, you know what? My primary purpose at that point was to just be present,
Yep.
to watch what was on the TV with this person,
Yeah.
to have a conversation, to be quiet when they were resting,
Mhm.
and it was not, as you said, it was not comfortable, but it was also, there's a dignity there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a Bible verse in, 1 Peter, 4th chapter, 10th verse. I'm talking about using your spiritual gifts,
Mhm.
and in order for us to be a good steward of the gifts we have to share them. They should be used to serve other people. Um, I'm pretty sure sense of humor is not listed as a gift in the Bible, but we'll just use it for this conversation. If my sense of humor or yours, we're both pretty funny people, is our gift, it does us no good to keep it to ourselves.
No.
In order to be a good steward of it, you have to share it with other people. So in our situations, our examples over the weekend with your loved one and my loved one, the gift in those moments was our time.
Yeah.
The resource was our time and presence. It could be money, and the bad feeling might be you're using me. It could be it could be a cup of sugar from the neighbor. It could be whatever it might be. The Bible verse is specifically referencing spiritual gifts. But for the context of this conversation, it could be whatever resource that is being deployed. Time, presence, energy, money, car, whatever it might be. The way you're a good steward of it is by sharing it.
Absolutely. There's a statement out there, and now I can kinda get where it's coming from, is to keep it, you've gotta give it away.
Got to.
Yeah.
You've got to. If you don't use it, you lose it.
You're hiding it under a bushel or something. It's no bueno.
So the grace in that service, well, let me ask you,
Yeah.
how do we show the grace in that service? What's the grace part of it?
The grace the grace in that part of it is that discernment to stay even when the feelings aren't great,
Mhm.
right? And to be clear, and for me, it's to keep it simple and be reminded that this other person that I really want to have the outcome I want to, they've got a God too,
Boom.
and I'm not it.
I'm not it. And I
Although I
don't get to
wanna be s
psychoanalyze it.
right.
I have to ask myself sometimes, is this
Yeah.
discernment or is this Ebony psychoanalysis 101? Which is it? Because only one is okay. Um, yeah, that's the important part. They we can't get so caught up in the moment that we think that the grace is just us. We're the special in the room. And he's just my God. He's my own personal God, nobody else's. And the grace is just for me. And the
Right.
prayers only get answered by me
And
in my voice.
you don't know God like I know
You
God,
don't know him
right?
like I know him. He doesn't talk to you the way he talks to me. And oh, so wrong.
And you know what? That for me, that really comes with this, like, idea of scarcity. I know intellectually this isn't true, but
Mhm.
this is where a lot of fear comes from is, like, like, God's not big enough for all of
Yeah.
us to have a really special relationship with, that there's some kinda give and take, and, like, there is no give and take with grace. It's so
Mm-mm.
big, it's so, so big, so, um, yeah,
He's big enough to show grace to all of us
at the same time.
at the same time where nobody gets slighted.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. So when I think about it, not in the overthinking way, but in the discerning way, when I reflect back on the teachings and I reflect back on what I know, it's easier to be present. It's easier to take advantage of those opportunities to be of service, and it doesn't feel like a burden. Even when it doesn't feel good, even when I feel all the things I'm feeling, I still know it's what I'm supposed to do. This is my reasonable service. I don't get an extra star on the heaven admission card, you
on
know?
the scoreboard.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get an extra bonus point for showing up and being kind today. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, and and that service, no matter how simple it is, no matter how complex we think it is, big, small, it's all the same size. Like,
Mhm.
with respect to grace, there is no small, there is no big,
It's all the same.
and what I do find, even if it doesn't feel good, like, at the end, I'm fueled by it.
Right.
I am not that's that effort. I am not exhausted by it. If I'm exhausted by it, then I really need to step back and take a look at where I might have gotten in the way in the process.
I wanna talk about that a little bit, and we're gonna wrap up, but
Yeah.
when you and I first met, shortly after we met, we attended a retreat together, and I remember asking you, "Are you tired after this? Because 'Cause I'm tired for you." Like, you're standing in front of people and you're giving your soul. I mean, you're giving emotion and competence and all this stuff, and these people are pulling and tugging on everything inside of you. Are you okay? Like, I was worried about you. And you just, in true Carrie form, you smiled and you said, "No, no, this isn't draining." And, in true Ebony nosy form, I'm like, "Well, tell me why. What's the trick? Tell me how do you do this?" Uh, and you went on to explain what you just did. And it was pretty eye-opening for me. And I started thinking of all the things that I do on the busiest days. Why are some so much more draining than others? Where is there alignment and where is there not? And I started seeing some correlation. If I'm where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it's not to say you don't get physically exhausted or flesh, but it's that drain, the depletion of the cup, the emptying. That doesn't necessarily happen. I still haven't fully explained it to myself, but you did a good job of getting me there.
Yes! Woo! See? Service has no time limit either.
It does not, and that was a while ago, and it stuck with me. It really did stick with me. I said, "Huh, I give presentations all the time, and I just need a nap." I can
And
count on one hand the ones where I've been like, "Oh, it was great. It was awesome. Yes, yes, yes." I keep going.
and that goes back to your spiritual gifts, right? So when you can when you can align your work with utilizing your gifts, and you can do it within corporate, you can do it. It doesn't mean that you have to be a retreat leader, right?
Mhm.
But when you can align your gifts as much as possible to the work that you're being asked to do, that's where that depletion, uh, lessens.
Zone of genius.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. The stuff you do all day, every day for free. Do more of that.
More of that.
And I also just wanna say real quick at the same time, for all who are listening, service can be smiling at a stranger as you
Yeah.
walk by. It can be a a hello, a roll your window down and say something kind to somebody as you're at the stoplight and, if you're in town or something. It can be, it's that we all crave and need connection, and it's that, uh, putting yourself out there to be connected to.
That's so true. I last example.
Yes,
I passed a guy over the weekend who was asking for money on the sidewalk. I didn't have any cash. And I try to always keep cash on me for this sole reason, but I didn't have any this time. People were just walking past the guy. He was very politely asking, "You have anything to spare?" So I got up to him. He said, "You have anything to spare?" I said, "I don't have any cash today, and I am so sorry. I normally do." And the guy looks at me and he says, "I know you do. I've seen you before." He said, "It's okay. Have a great evening." Not the response I was expecting. Okay. And he had the brightest smile. The man provided a service to me because his smile lit up my entire evening. I tell you no lie. He was so gracious and generous with my I don't have it with me right now, you know. Oh, I'll give you a pass. I just thought, man, you never know. Here I am thinking that he wants a service from me and I can't give it. He provided one for me. And it just makes me wonder sometimes when we think we're doing the service, what service is being done to us? What feeling is happening on our inside? When we miss the opportunity, are we blocking someone else's opportunity from providing a service to us? It's an exchange. This thing goes both ways.
absolutely.
We're filling a cup and they're filling our cup. And, it's this constant reciprocal kind of thing that happens. It ebbs and flows, but it touched my heart. So I thought about that when you were saying what you were saying.
Beautiful. It's true. It's that it's renewal.
Mhm.
Yeah. This has been good, Ebony, and as you said when we started, there was technical difficulty after technical difficulty, and it's like and, we just show up. So,
You just saw it. So keep fighting the good fight, people.
yeah,
Uh, keep helping others. Keep the service going on. Pay it forward.
absolutely.
Pay it forward. Yeah. Graceful service.
Yes,
And even if you can't muster up the grace, do it anyway. It'll come. The rest will come. Do it anyway. Just because it's the right thing to do.
absolutely.
What
It's
you got?
amazing.
You got anything else to close out?
Sometimes, when I'm feeling really low, like, I don't feel like I have enough in reserve to do
Mhm.
that. And what I do find is if I can just smile at somebody, if I
Yeah.
can give a little, that gets the ball rolling. I don't
Yeah.
know how else to say it.
No, you're right. A little bit of eye contact and a smile.
Yeah, and sometimes it could be like I've done this, Ebony, I've done this to you. Sometimes it's actually reaching out and asking for something.
Yep.
I was going through a really tough time and I texted Ebony. I said, "I just need a prayer."
Mhm.
You can do that.
Yep.
That gives that gave an opportunity for
Yep.
service. So, don't be
Yep.
afraid.
Don't take away my opportunity.
Oh, I
Don't rob.
won't. I won't, honey.
My grandma used to say it like this, "Don't rob me of my blessing."
I love that. I love
She would
that.
try to give somebody something or slip a couple dollars in their pocket or offer them something to eat, and they would just say, "No, no, 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 I can't take that." She said, "Well, don't rob me of my blessing." That's the opportunity. In old folks' language, that's the opportunity.
I think your grandmother just wrapped this one up this time.
Boom.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Hey, friend, I love you.
I love you too.
People listening, we love you.
Yes, we do. And until next time,
Grace
grace
out.
out.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. We love to hear from you, and share it with a friend. Also, please be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. We hope you're leaving with another pointer to grace, a new perspective that will light it up in your own life. Until next time, be well, be bold, be kind to yourself, and be on the lookout.